Welcome back, everybody, to Arcturian Philosophy. Today, I thought that I might be able to have a question and answer section with the Arcturians um, because of the different things that I've seen many Arcturians experience who are in a type of captivity. Here, you can take a look at my video. Greys and Arcturians meet the parents for some insight on that and the prison structure that they live inside of. After going through all of this, I said, "Look, guys, I know that I know that this is not all the Arcturians. This is not what's happened. We wouldn't know about these other things, or how to use light energy or light language or any of that. We wouldn't know about any of this history, were it not that the what I would call Arcturians from the future trying to help their former selves in the past." And so I asked them, "Well, do you think I might be able to do a kind of question and answer session with you?" And and they said, "Oh, well, that sounds fine. Ask away then." And so I came up with a list of some questions, and I'm going to read down them, and we'll see what answers that we get. Now, number one, do you ever feel endangered, that you could become lost inside of this prison system that I witnessed? The response they gave me was, "Well, of course, we fear such things, but the only thing to fear is truly fear itself. And in knowing this, we know that we are protected from ever becoming entrapped into such a type of mentality or into such a system." They also did mention something vaguely along the lines of that now they're quite smart about that, and they're very careful about getting a little bit too close to the situation, so they don't have to worry about getting themselves stuck in what looks like an ammonite, or a nautilus shell looping kind of frequency net or prison. The second thing I asked them was, "Why have you returned so quickly to me after months of a silent lull?" What had happened was they spoke to me quite a bit before last August. We know what happened last August, and had spoken to me in general regarding different things, regarding what was going on the planet. But after the different incidences, it appeared that they would withdraw their contact. And so I asked them, "Well, is there a reason that now you've suddenly shown back up?" And their response was something similar to that there was an opening that had been created in order to allow them access back through. And they said actually the opening depended on me, that it wasn't necessarily that they were not able to communicate, but that so many different things were influencing me at the time that I could not hear them. Third question, fun one. What do you look like? Figured for everyone who wants to know. What do they look like? Arcturians come in many shapes and sizes. Now, what they told me is that they were a race that was about my height, about maybe 5 or so feet tall, with a pale bluish skin and very thin arms, very thin and delicate looking, and that they did not look quite the same as other different groups that will see different pictures of Arcturians, because there are so many different groups as a result of the Zeta breeding, trying to save the race. So I thought that was an interesting answer. But the ones that I talked to, they said, yes, we are blue. We have fairly oval shaped heads. We have very large eyes with dark eye sockets and 3 fingers. with attached to very dainty long arms and fairly dainty long legs and quite skinny. Now, can you comment about the hardships on Earth? And what they came back at me with was something that I would personally understand. When I was being held as a captive, there was a woman who came up to me who was also an Arcturian hybrid. She was a higher percentage Arcturian hybrid. You could simply tell by looking at her. And she said to me, "Don't let them mess with your mind. You know who you are." And so what they appeared to be conveying was that they were very, very painfully aware of the situation on Earth. And part of the answer was a bit of a joke. They then said to me, "Now, who are you?" And my first thought was, I'm the person called Andromeda, who's a philosophy professor. And they did again tell me the name is not correct, the name, because it's dangerous to give out your name nowadays. The name was not exactly correct, but that was on purpose. But that I was a philosophy professor there and had gone all over this different galaxy. So their question to me back was, well, how do you perceive the hardships on Earth? It's your planet. Does it seem like something that must be changed? And I thought back, yes, it is something that definitely must be changed. So they said, well, there's your answer. We have been noticing these hardships for quite a while, particularly, as many people would know now, after Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That was when everyone began to pay attention, because we might as well just let off a beacon saying we were going to commit suicide as a planet. And it appeared they were counting on humans just like me, just like you, who would hear messages from them or have inspiration from the divine to be able to convey this kind of information and to be able to affect a change in that fashion. Also right now, a quote from ET 101 is brought to me, which is the section about the second coming. And now there are lots of different ideas with this, but they were simply saying this metaphorically in ET 101, saying that you are the second coming. The idea is not to go back home. The idea is to bring the home back here. Now, what I also asked them, do you know the duration, roughly, of these kinds of hardships that we're going to have to go through? And they said very quickly, about 2 years, meaning until 2016, if you counted this year and then next year, that this year and then next year would be full of challenges. And that's something that's actually collaborated by several other channels, by Cryon. I'm sure Bashar probably mentioned something about it as well. But I noticed that specifically with Cryon, that he concurred in the same points. Now I asked them, what do you think about protection? What do you feel is the best way for us humans that are here down in this third density, this very thick, dense place, to help protect ourselves? First, I have to mention that when you protect yourself, you are actually setting up a situation to be harmed, because if you didn't need to create the protection, then you wouldn't be anticipating any kind of harm coming to you. But due to the circumstances that have gone on here on Earth, I said to them, well, honestly, what do you think would be some modalities for protection for starseeds, things that are simple, things that anyone can do, things that people that aren't starseeds can do? And the first thing that they brought up was talismans, or like what I'm wearing, a cross, some sort of emblem that means something very particular and special to you. It seemed like they wanted to emphasize not what the emblem was, not what the talisman was, not what it was made out of necessarily, but its connection to you as a soul, and what that meant to you as a soul. So you could have a $5 necklace from uh, Walmart, and that necklace, however, might signify to you something very protective. It might have been something that your mother gave you when you were a child and you were having nightmares. It could be something like that. And so they said something like that is just perfectly fine as well, but that talismans have been used for ages for these kinds of things. See, they also mentioned, for example, rosary beads for those who are Catholic. It doesn't matter what it is, just something that you feel. The idea is about feeling protected, not necessarily about the thing actually doing something for you. You could get a piece of plastic, and if that piece of plastic means something so powerful to you that it's your lucky piece of plastic, then that will serve as a kind of protection for you. Let's see. They also mentioned herbs, cedar, using frequency in an herb type modality, essential oils, anything that is something that the negative spirits don't really like because of the high frequency associated with them. Anything that can make your frequency more dissonant from that which would be perceived to be trying to harm you. And also, they wanted me to bring up to remember the law of attraction. With the law of attraction, these laws can very literally work like gravity. And if you're listening to Bashar occasionally, you'll notice he doesn't quite state it that way, but he does say these are simply laws of physics. I can give an example where I was in a foreign country last year, and I hadn't really known that there was a high crime rate. And so the third day that I was there, the house that I was staying in was broken into. Everyone else's electronics were stolen from them except mine. And I had just come from a very high frequency area near San Francisco. And when the robber came into my room, wasn't even thinking it was a robber. I didn't have my glasses on. I was fumbling around saying, "Hello, excuse me, do you need some help?" And I put my glasses on, messing around. Okay, excuse me, sir. Oh, hi. He simply looked at me, stared. He would not open the door any further than about 1 meter. And had he opened that door just a few inches further, he would have seen there was a laptop, a cell phone, things that he could have taken. And it appeared that my higher frequency had protected me in that circumstance, because only similar frequencies may share the same space. Frequencies that are too dissonant with one another must exit the space of each other. That could be something as simple as being in a different room as someone. That could be something along the lines of maybe you don't get along with someone at work and your frequency is much higher than theirs, so that you would end up naturally working out a schedule so that you didn't have to really see that person on your job shift. With the law of attraction, they wanted me to simply talk about that and finish with that. Because as they've said with the global events, they're here to help us, but not to simply do it all for us. That they're there as guides, but when it comes to doing the really hard work, it's got to be up to us here on the planet, because it's our planet after all. We're the ones who were born on it. No matter what race you may be, we are the ones who were born on this planet. So anyone who's terrestrial, well, and who calls the earth their home, this is a responsibility for us to try to be stewards of the earth and to pay attention to different things that she needs. With the law of attraction, one thing that they mentioned was to notice what you resonate well with And so with me, I resonate very well with the earth itself and also with crystals, which are embedded in the earth. So that's another connection there, to notice what different things cause you to create a higher frequency and what different things might impede that, and to capitalize on the things that you notice really help you maintain the higher frequency. They also mention meditation, yoga, qigong, all the different ancient arts and Eastern kinds of medicine for protection, for stabilizing the planet, for being able to show this planet that we love it. We've really not been paying Gaia very much respect in the last several hundred years. And so we've got to go ahead and change that, because Gaia herself has decided that she wants to ascend and wants, of course, her inhabitants to ascend with her. Also, the last thing that they mentioned was, in terms of frequency and creating what you want, what you are trying to do is you're trying to shift your frequency into a frequency that matches the reality that you would like to be a part of. And that requires changing our thought patterns and our beliefs. So if you believe that the world is a dangerous place, that there's ISIS everywhere and beheadings and all these different things, now as true as that might be, the focus, the fixation on that simply creates more of it. They tried to emphasize to me that you don't quite understand the nature with which the law of attraction really is like a law of gravity. You saw for yourself, I saw for myself, how a robber tried to walk into my room but could not step foot inside the room because the frequency inside the room was too high of me sleeping in there. So it was almost as if they were trying to tell me that all of these problems that we've been experiencing collectively, particularly the starseeds, particularly any starseeds like me who will wave around like a big neon sign saying, "Hello, I'm a starseed. Let's all get together. Let's meet. Let's do meditation work. Let's try to create meetings. Let's try to help put this planet back on a good course." They seem to suggest that when one changes their frequency so drastically, such as through an epiphany is an example of a massive change or override in a person's frequency to elevate it. When these things occur, your entire reality begins to shift around you. But like Bashar's famous example of the mirror, if you realize that what you're seeing around you is a mirror hologram of what you think, meaning that what you think, how you think, ends up being the representation of what you have around you, everything, every inanimate object, every neighbor, then you begin to realize how your thoughts, how every action has a reaction, one of the laws of the universe, cause and effect. And so if you end up creating a frequency that is so strong that can resonate with those around you, then you will end up shifting yourself into a reality that is much better suited for you. Now, where I last was, despite how I tried that, there was too much of a negative frequency over the entire area, and I needed to simply get out because I couldn't really fend off the low frequency by myself. So I ended up down here, and now I'm going to work on talking more with them. Frankly, I'm a little bit nervous to channel with them. I've never really been a professional channel before, but they keep wanting to encourage me in that direction, especially because I'm very good at making fun of their voices that sound like helium. They have very high-pitched voices, and my joke to them was, "You guys sound like helium." And they thought that was rather amusing. So now, let's see, do we have any final question and answer for the Arcturians? They would like to say that our fight, as they don't like to think of it as a fight, but what we are perceiving down here as a fight is not in vain, and that the balance has already been tipped from negative to positive energies, more so on the planet, and that we are moving in the right direction, even though it looks slow, and that we simply have to hang on and keep on doing the work that we're doing, keep on networking with each other. That brings me to something I'm going to put in the beginning of my videos after this. Please give me an email, send me an email at ArcturianPhilosophy. It's the same as the channel name, ArcturianPhilosophy, at gmail.com, and I'd love to talk with you. If anyone has any donations that they would like to contribute in order to help me in my situation, as well as with being able to do videos like this, that I would be able to ask for help from some people who might be watching, who might be able to contribute any small monetary amount, or like I said before in some of the other videos, crystals, a bicycle. I did manage to get myself a laptop, which is great, so that's going along well. And to simply, I need to simply put it out there. Right now, I'm being drawn to the concept of abundance, and abundance, that's something that we've often equated either with money or with goods or with possessions. But abundance can also be an abundance of the spirit, or an abundance of faith, and that these are just as valid forms of abundance. But when we live in a society still that still uses money, that no longer uses barter and trade system, that in those types of circumstances, that it's perfectly all right to ask people for donations. I was always a person who was a little scared to do that, scared to say, oh my gosh, I'm asking someone for money, oh no. But they said, no, you shouldn't be afraid to do that. That's something that if someone is able to give that resonates with the same frequency as you, and that can tell that you are being as honest a channel as possible, that is something that they would be glad to assist you with. So all you simply need to do is ask. Also, I'd like to point out, in the comments, it's rather difficult for me to read the comments on my videos. So again, please, if you'd like to talk with me, I'd love to talk with you. My name is Krista, and that is my real name, because I'm not scared of my real name. And the email address is ArcturianPhilosophy at gmail.com. So I will leave us with this, my brothers and sisters in light, and hopefully with a little bit of practice, I'll be able to do some channeling with these Arcturians who have been, they told me, we've been watching the situation from afar for quite a while. We've seen how you, the hybrid children, have been taken advantage of, have been experimented upon, have been enslaved in these different military units, and it's been done by our own people. And it's been done essentially by other Arcturians, but Arcturians who were brought up or farmed, as they call it, inside of a system meant to breed them for control, to be able to use them for control, because they have very, very, very extensive consciousness and can do so many different things at once that it's not even funny. So because of that, they said simply ask for different things that you need. There's nothing wrong with doing that. They also seemed excited that they were able to talk to me more than they had in the past, and that I need to focus on my higher path. I think that's something that would apply for everyone, to focus on our higher paths in ascension in order to bring that about to the rest of the world. Only to those who wish to accept the ideas. This is not something where we go banging people over the head with the Bible. This is the kind of thing where we say, well, this is what reality has seemed like according to what I've noticed, to what I've experienced, to different things that I've read, and they all seem to fit into place. And so some people will accept the message and want to learn more, while others will say, oh, that doesn't sound, that's not for me. So when someone comes across you with that kind of reaction, simply wish them a good day and continue on, and you're liable to find someone else who would be accepting of the message of that. And so with that, with the note of giving messages, I will conclude this message on Arcturian philosophy. And please don't make fun of me over my first trying to channel with the Arcturians. I don't clear myself very well yet as a channel to be a pure channel, mostly because of self-esteem, to be honest, because of self-esteem that I might look stupid or do the wrong thing. And their opinion is you can't do the wrong thing, it's channeling. That's simply how channeling is. But in the future, hopefully I'll have more of that, and now more videos coming, since I have some more equipment to do that with. So I love you all, and have a wonderful week. If you are Arcturian, make sure to stay in touch with the Arcturians, with whatever group works with you, specifically whatever type or subtype of Arcturian that you speak with, as they come in different shapes and sizes. Be sure to be connected with them, and remember that you are essentially like a walking God. And that's not sacrilegious to say that, that's simply truth, and that we carry the Creator within us. We are extensions of God, and therefore a part of God. So I wish all of you a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time on Arcturian Philosophy.